Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be filming my 2018 favorites video. I am going to be mentioning all of the standout products that I have tried this whole year. I know this video is going to be a super long one because I have a bunch of products here to share with you guys, so let's just go ahead and get started. So I'm gonna go in the order the way I do my makeup, and I'm also just only mentioning makeup products. I'm not mentioning skincare or anything else. So obviously, first thing that I start off with is a primer. I've mentioned this a lot, but I personally don't use a primer too often, so I guess for like a good chunk of the year I wasn't using any primer on my face. But Colourpop did launch their All-Star Matte and Blur Primer, and ever since they have launched it and I received it, I have been using it all the time. I've been really liking this one and I think it works great. It's something very affordable and it's also cruelty free. It's almost like a moisturizer the way it feels on your skin, so I have been loving this one. Next we move on to foundation. I have actually a couple here to share with you guys. First favorite foundation will have to be the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation. It is in the shade Golden Beige and I am wearing that today. This does beat my Hourglass Vanish Stick foundation, which I am going to mention right after this. I've worn it so many times this year. I just think it makes your skin look so good, and on camera and photos my skin looks so flawless. Something about it, it's the photo focus line. It's so affordable as well. I'm definitely gonna pick another one up once I run out. I think I got this like in March or something and it's lasted me till now and it's still going strong, so this is definitely a keeper. I think it's definitely a standout foundation that I've used. I took this with me when I went traveling. I wear it when I want to look good in photos. It's just like my go-to foundation. The only downside about Wet n Wild is just their color range. They don't have many shades. If you can find your shade, I would highly recommend that you get it. And like I just mentioned earlier, this is the Hourglass Vanish Stick foundation in the shade Sand. This was, I believe, my last year favorite for foundation. It's still my favorite, but I guess this year I was exploring more foundations. I was wearing the Wet n Wild one a lot. I didn't want to use this one too often just because it is so expensive, and this is actually my second one of this foundation, so I didn't want to like waste another one. I just only kept it for special occasions. I still love it though, so I still had to mention it. I also just want to give a quick mention to the Colourpop No Filter foundations. This is in the liquid and this is in the stick. I personally prefer the stick, but these are both great foundations. I think Colourpop just does it right with a lot of their products, and these are just both really great light to medium coverage foundations. I've done reviews on both of them as well, but I just had to mention these as well. They look amazing on the skin, blend out beautifully, and the coverage is amazing. Next we move into concealer. For the majority of the year I was using the Colourpop No Filter concealer and I like that, but I have found my new all-time favorite concealer, which is the Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer, and I'm in the shade Golden Beige. I've only used this for maybe like 2 months now, maybe 3 months at this point, but it's seriously the best concealer I've ever used. It's much better than this Tarte Shape Tape. It just gives you that coverage that you need. It doesn't cake up, it doesn't look dry under your eyes, it's super easy to blend out. It just works like a dream. So I much prefer this over the No Filter, also Tarte Shape Tape. It's just an amazing concealer. I feel like concealers are super hard to get right, especially like the under eye area is very dry and you have a lot of fine lines under there, but this one has just been amazing to me. Moving along to powders, they both are Colourpop products. I think in the beginning of the year for my loose powder I was using the RCMA one, but honestly after I got the Colourpop No Filter setting powder, I haven't touched my RCMA one like in a very long time. This just makes your under eyes look so good. I use this to bake under my eyes and kind of like my smile lines and my T-zone where I get really oily, and when you put it in this like area where you have a lot of pores, it almost like makes the pores disappear, and it's so magical. I just love how this looks on my skin. I use the shade Translucent. It is a small tub, but it does last you a very long time, and it's also very affordable as well. So if you do run out of it and you use more powder than I do, it's not too hard to repurchase, you know what I mean? And for pressed powder, I'm not too fussy with pressed powder. For the most part, most of my face is set with the loose powder, like my T-zone, my under eyes. So mainly I just use the pressed powder to set like around my cheeks, my temples, and that's pretty much it. So I'm not too fussy over it, but I've been really liking the sheer pressed powder. It just really sits down your foundation nicely. It's as simple as that. So I just been loving these two as my powders. Now moving on to brows. I discovered a new brow pencil, and this one is from NYX. It's their micro brow pencil, and I use the shade Espresso. This one's actually finished, which I'm so sad about. I haven't gotten around to repurchasing another one because I still have some Colourpop brow pencils to go through. But definitely when I run out of my brow pencil, I'm definitely getting this one. It reminds me a lot of the Anastasia brow wiz, but I believe it's a lot cheaper than the Anastasia brow wiz. I think in New Zealand this one is $18, which to me is still expensive for a brow pencil, but comparing to Anastasia brow wiz, I think in New Zealand it's about $30, so it's almost double in price. And it's just very, very thin, and it's not too opaque, so you can really build up the product, and it just gives you the precision that you need. It really reminds me of the brow wiz, but just in a cheaper form. So yeah, definitely gonna repurchase this one. I just haven't gone around to it. I'm just using up some of my other makeup first. Speaking about the Colourpop brow pencils, I do like them, but why I like this one over the Colourpop ones is because this one's a lot thinner, and I can do my brows pretty big sometimes, guys, because you guys see me without makeup. When I don't have makeup on, I have no brows, so I'm doing my brows completely freehand, and when you're doing something freehand, you can get carried away sometimes, okay? And in the past, I have done my brows super thick. Just having a thinner brow pencil, it allows me to be more in control on controlling the size of my brows. And as for my brow powder, it's the same brow powder that I've been using for like the past, I don't know how long, like maybe 4 years, 3 years. I've had this brow powder since forever. It's the Anastasia brow powder duo in the shade dark brown. The Anastasia one just works really great for me. It's just a brow powder, so yeah, been really loving that. I was gonna mention a brow gel. At one point I really did like the Colourpop one, but I kind of realized like that one was really weighing down my brows, and my brow hairs will come down, so you could see my brow hair like shooting down. So I just stopped using it. I don't actually use any brow gel anymore. I just think my hairs are too sparse and too weak that I can't hold up a brow gel, and it would just go straight down. So I don't like that, so I don't use a brow gel anymore. So no brow gel for this year. Okay, so now we're moving on to eyeshadows, which is obviously one of my favorite parts of doing my makeup. You know I'm an eyeshadow fanatic. I have a couple of eyeshadow palettes here. I'm not going to mention the Nubian palette by Juvia's Place or the Jaclyn Hill palette, just because I mentioned them last year. Just know that I still do love those palettes very dearly. It's just I've already mentioned it, and those were released last year, or I just tried them out last year. I do have like a top 10 favorite eyeshadow palettes video if you want to check that out, where they are mentioned if you want to hear me talk about it. But I'm just gonna mainly talk about the palettes that I have discovered this year that I love. So obviously you guys know I have a bunch of Colourpop palettes. I mean, is that a surprise? Although I just filmed that top 10 favorite eyeshadow video, my number one spot, it has changed. It has changed, yeah, okay. Even though this palette just came out the most recent out of the bunch, it is the Colourpop Disney Princess It's a Princess Thing shadow palette. This is the palette that I took with me to Australia when I just went. If I was doing my makeup every single day and I was just like a regular person, well, I am a regular person, but like I film videos, you know what I mean? So like if I wasn't filming, because a lot of times when I do film, I use certain products for that video. I don't do my makeup just how I want to do it. If I was to do my makeup just like a normal day, average girl, didn't have to film videos, this is the palette that I would want to have, because what I love about this palette, 4 shades. There are 4 shades in here that I just love. Grumpy, Triton, Abu, and Beast. If this came in a quad, I would buy 10 of those. That would be like my go-to quad. These are like my go-to shades just for like an everyday look. It's just so beautiful. The tones are almost like muted. It's not very bright and in your face. It's just very soft and glam. I just love this. I just love this palette. They have, you know, more fun shades in here as well. It's just a really amazing palette, and I'm sure this one is limited edition, so if you can get it, be sure to get it. But I just, you know, these 3 right here, I live for, so I think as of now, this is like my #1 palette. In the beginning of the year, I believe, like really beginning of the year, they came out with Give It To Me Straight and Double Entendre. So Double Entendre is more of like the basics, neutral, warm tones. Great just, again, for every day. But the ones in the Disney one are a little bit more like neutral and like muted. This one's a little bit more louder. But again, it's very wearable for every day. It's just a great basic palette to have. So, of course, had to mention Double Entendre. And my previous #1 palette was Give It To Me Straight. So, before I had the Disney palette, this was like my all-time go-to palette, and it still is. I still love it so much. It's just great for every day. You can create warm looks, berry looks. It just has a bit of everything. There are enough mattes, there are enough shimmers. It's just a very nice cohesive palette. Another one that released was Shayla's palette with Colourpop, which is called Perception. It's almost like an essential palette where it has everything that you need. The shimmers are all there, like you have golds, oranges, pinks, blues, just a bit of everything, and you can create so many looks with this. They perform beautifully, and it is a standout in my eyes from all of the Colourpop palettes. And yeah, whenever I have the chance to do my makeup freely, I will grab at least one of these palettes. Although I love so many more palettes from Colourpop, these are just my top favorite eyeshadow palettes. These are the palettes that I keep in my top drawer. I love Yes Please, I love the Dream Street. I don't keep that in my top drawer just because it's not like my everyday palettes. I love them to death, but it's just not suitable in my opinion for everyday. I mean, Dream Street is, but just the tones in here I love much more. I want to give an honorable mention to the Anastasia Normina palette. It's just an honorable mention, but I just love this palette so much. It's the standout out of the non-Colourpop palettes that I have. This is definitely coming into the new year with me. I just know I'm going to use this palette so incredibly much. I love it. This is what I wanted the Mono Renaissance to be. So yeah, I'm just gonna quickly talk about that, just because I haven't been using it for the whole year. So that was all my eyeshadows. Now we move on to eyeliners. I actually have quite a lot of eyeliners to share with you guys. Obviously, my favorite liner, period, the liner that I use every single day for the past 2 years, Inglot Gel Liner AMC number 77. This is just the best gel eyeliner, period. When I first started doing wing eyeliner, I would always use gel. I always found it much more easier to control and just glide on. The Inglot one is just that it's super smooth, like so incredibly smooth, like it just slides on, and also that it's very black, and it's like a matte black. You have some gel eyeliners or liquid liners where when you put it on, it's not as black or it's shiny. I don't like that. I want my wing to be dark and matte, you know? You can buy the Inglot Duraline. You put a little drop in this and mix it up, and it comes back to its original consistency. I also have some liquid liners that I want to mention to you guys. These are the NYX Matte Liquid Liner. I have the black and the white one. This is really great for like precision work if you are more into like creative looks and you want to create little fine details with a black or a white. These are great to work with. The brush on this is very fine. It's just very easy to maneuver and to control. I've used a lot of liquid eyeliners in my time of makeup, but I feel like this one is just the best one that I've seen so far. It's cruelty free, it's NYX, so it's affordable. So when I was in the NYX Face Awards, I used this one a lot to do more like pinpoint detail work. It is great for like wing liner as well if you're into like liquid liners for your wing. These two are just great to have on hand when I want to create more creative looks, and it's just great for detail work, and I had to mention that the formula is great. Now talking about more pencil eyeliners, this is my favorite kohl liner in the world, the best formula ever. This is the Artisy in Modester Smooth Ride Supercharged Eyeliner. I have the one in coffee, and I'm wearing it in my tight line today. If you have watery eyes, okay, and you are sick of eyeliners not staying in your damn waterline, you have to try this one out. I heard Jaclyn Hill talk about it. She's the whole reason why I bought it. Super expensive for an eyeliner. It's 18 New Zealand dollars. It just goes into your waterline pigmented and it stays there, and it's just so smooth, it's just what you want an eyeliner to do, you know? And for my last eyeliner mention, of course I had to mention the Colourpop Creme Gel Liners. So this one doesn't stay in the waterline as long as the Artisty In one. These, if you do have super watery eyes, they might not go into your waterline as well as the Artisty In one. I have super watery eyes, guys, like very, very watery eyes, but these still work on me. But keep in mind, some shades are a bit some shades like these are really good and go into your waterline very pigmented. Sometimes around the outer corner they can rub off, but you can just reapply it and it goes on beautifully again. I feel like more of the fun colors are a lot more easier and more pigmented and smooth to go into the waterline rather than more of like the black and the neutral ones. The black I don't like at all because it just doesn't, it's not as dark, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's just like a really affordable way to add a pop of color into your waterline. A lot of good eyeliners are a lot more expensive. Example, the Artisty In one. I've heard that the Urban Decay one is really good as well, but they're obviously a lot more expensive. So if you want to play with color and you're on a budget, I think the Colourpop ones are a really good way to go. And I've used them so many times in my tutorials. Anytime I want to pop color in my waterline, I'm using the Colourpop ones. They are super fragile, so be very, very careful with them or they're gonna snap and break off. And then we move on to mascara. Mascara is a very boring category for me because I don't have a lot of lashes and I wear falsies a lot of the time. So mascara is like just whatever to me. I've been using the same mascara since forever. The Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. This is just like a mini one. It's just in the original formula. I've also been really loving the Sigma Sensuous Lash Mascara. I actually like to use this one on for my lower lashes because I like ones that are a little bit curved for my lower lashes just because I have very, very baby lashes that using more of like a straight one, it's a little bit harder to like coat all of it, so using a curved one is really great. As for bronzers, I honestly don't have too many because for most of the year I was using this Too Faced one and I was using it in all my videos, but I realized they don't have that bronzer anymore, so I stopped using it and decided to get something that you guys could actually purchase. So if you have any recommendations for really good affordable bronzers, cruelty-free, let me know. But for the most part, I've been using the NYX Highlight and Contour Pro palette. I've been using especially these two shades here, which is actually called, this one is called Tan and this one is called Toffee. And I've been using Sculpt for my nose contour. Goes on super, super easily. It blends out. It doesn't look muddy or streaky. It just goes on like a dream, and I like how there are different tones so you can mix and match. Sometimes I'll just only use this, sometimes I'll mix the two. And my other bronzer mention is the Colourpop House of Mirrors Face Duo. I believe this one is discontinued, but I wanted to mention Colourpop's pressed formula in general. The pressed eyeshadows, pressed blush, pressed bronzers are like all amazing as well. I stopped using this one just because it is like discontinued, so I don't use things that are discontinued, things that you can't use. But just generally their bronzers are amazing. They go on like a dream, so I had to mention that. Now we move on to blushes. I of course obviously still love my Wet n Wild Color Icon blush in the shade Mellow Wine. This was my favorite blush last year, I believe. I do have a couple new ones this year, but I just love this one so incredibly much. It's just like the perfect everyday blush to wear. It goes with every single eye look that you could wear. And how it's like $7 in New Zealand, like $7. I've had this for like almost 2 years now, and maybe it's expired, but you know what? It's fine. Go try it. It's like a really amazing blush. I mean, it's in my favorites 2 years in a row, okay? If it's in my favorites 2 years in a row, I don't know why you guys haven't bought it yet, is all I'm saying. My next blush favorite is from the Eva, mylifeaseva collection with Colourpop in the Duo Mermaid Glow. I don't know if her collection is still on Colourpop or not, so if it isn't, I'm sorry, but if it is, that's great, you can pick it up. But I've been really liking her blush in here. I also have another one from Colourpop. It's called To The Tan. It's in my drawer. I forgot to bring it out on my trolley and I don't want to get out of my seat. But it's called To The Tan from Colourpop. That's also a really amazing blush. Like I said before, Colourpop's pressed formula is just like one of the best, and the fact that it's so affordable blows my mind. So To The Tan or the Mermaid Glow Duo, those are good ones. My next blush is actually more of like a recent thing that I've come across, but I know I'm gonna bring it into the new year with me. This is just the Colourpop Super Shock Cheek in the shade Between the Sheets. I feel like I'm actually gonna hit pan on this one soon. I've like made a huge dent into it. I've been using it all the time. It's almost like the Color Icon blush from Wet n Wild, but in a cream formula. I just love this for like more natural days, and when I'm wearing more like crazy eye colors on my eyes, I want a blush that's not too overpowering, and this is when I like to use this one. It's great for every day. Again, it just goes with everything. Every single eye look, this one is a beautiful shade. It's like a nice wash of cheek color. It almost looks like you're blushing from within. So yeah, highly recommend, love this one. Again, Colourpop, super affordable, so love it. Okay, now we move on to highlighters. Last year my favorite, I believe it was Fuego as well, which of course is my favorite too, but for the majority of the year I wasn't using this highlighter just because I knew you guys couldn't get it anymore, and like I've been saying, I don't want to use products that you guys cannot buy because that's just so sad. The only times I would use this highlighter is when I'm like off camera or something, but they actually relaunched it in September, October, they relaunched it, so ever since then I've been using it much more because now that I can actually use it when I'm filming. So yeah, Fuego is just like my all-time favorite highlighter. I don't know if it's still in stock or if they're gonna come back in stock, but it's just like a beautiful highlight to have. I'm not wearing it today because I'm wearing the Colourpop one because this whole kind of face is Colourpop. It's just like amazing highlighter. I will always bring this highlighter with me when I go traveling. It's just literally the best. It looks so good on the skin. Very wet looking, but it's also very glittery, but it doesn't bring out a texture. It's just so beautiful. And again, it's another product that I mentioned last year and this year, so if I mentioned it last year and this year 2 times in a row, then you know it's a keeper. The next highlighting palette, I'm sure you guys can guess who it is. It is the Colourpop in Nudindo highlighting palette, and this one has been a go-to this year. Because I couldn't use Fuego, I was using this. I was always using On the Loose, which is the gold here. You can see I've made dents in this highlighting palette. It's just so amazing. When I do looks and I want to have more of a golden highlight, I will go in with On the Loose. When I do looks that I want a silver highlight, I will go with Fine Line. And again, if you're a working makeup artist, you just have all these beautiful shades to work with. You can double them up as shimmer shadows that work great. I just love On the Loose a lot as well. I mean, if they could come with On the Loose in a single pan, I would probably get it. Again, Colourpop pressed formula, amazing, affordable, cruelty-free. Like, what more do you want? Colourpop is just the brand, okay? And the next highlighting palette, I actually haven't mentioned this to you guys before, I don't think. I've been meaning to put it into a favorite, so here it is now. I got this for my birthday this year from one of my friends. This is the Hourglass Ambient Lighting palette. I'm very late to the bandwagon, but I think Hourglass is a brand that I also just very love. Like, you guys know I love Colourpop, but after that I feel like Hourglass is a brand that I just truly love. Although I haven't tried many of their products, I think just hearing about them and just having a couple of their products, I can see that it's really, really high quality. So I also heard about this from Jacqueline. She uses one of them. So what pretty much she would do is put this as like a highlighting base, and then she'll go in with her other highlighter and just top it off, and it looks so amazing on the skin. Jacqueline just knows her products so well. So yeah, like this has been more of like, I guess, recent. I haven't been using it for the whole entire year, but for a good portion of the year I have. If you're not into like super blinding highlights like this, then this is something you would love. Like, it's just like a nice natural radiant glow. It's beautiful on the skin. It is super expensive, but I think the quality is there. The packaging and everything is just, it's not cheap, you know. You are getting what you pay for, so this one is a recommendation from me. Okay, we are coming very close to the end of this favorite video. I have a lip products and a lashes to share with you guys, so I'm quickly just going to talk about the lashes first. But all from House of Lashes, very affordable in my opinion for the volume that you're getting. First one I want to mention is the ones I'm wearing right now. These are the Iconic Light. These are the lashes that I would wear when I do like eye looks that have a cut crease in it, like a half cut crease, because the outer edges are a lot more longer than the inner, so the inner are a lot more shorter. So if it's shorter, you can still see the eyeshadow coming through, and it's gonna give you like that cat eye look. My favorite all-time lash, like just with every eye look, doesn't matter what you're wearing, are the boudoir lights. Some of you guys corrected me, it's boudoir. These are just like an amazing, great lash. Gives you that puppy-like eye look, and I just love it. The same length all around, but in the middle it's a little bit more denser and it's a little bit longer, but it just makes your eyes look so good with any eye look. Go traveling, this is the only lash I will take with me. And the last lash I want to recommend are the demure lights. These lashes are a little bit more sparse and they're a little bit shorter, so they kind of give more of that natural look. Some lashes that I think are natural might not be natural to you, but I wear lashes on a daily basis. I remember when I first started wearing lashes, iconic lights or boudoir lights, demure lights, they would be way too much for me. I'd be like, whoa, this is way too much. But when you get to a point where you wear lashes like all the time, these are very everyday, very appropriate for everyday in my opinion. So lashes do take a lot of time getting used to. Like once you get started, you can't stop. But yeah, demure lights are lashes that I would pair with more softer looks. If I'm going for something a little bit more natural, demure is what I'm gonna go for. But these three lashes, I rotate them all the time. I have backups of them. They are just like the best of the best. Now we're moving on to the final category, which are lips. I have a couple of different lips stuff here for you. I think my all-time favorite this year would have to be the Disney gloss in bobbidi. Although again, the Disney collection didn't come out too long ago, this is just like my go-to gloss. It's like my perfect gloss ever. It just makes you look so youthful. It brings you back to life. I love this one so incredibly much. From the same collection, I really do like Boo as well. It's more of like a pinkier color. It's very similar to Aquarius, but it's just a little bit more, I guess, a little bit more darker, not as cool toned as Aquarius. The Disney glosses are amazing, like so incredibly good. The other gloss that I've been loving from Colourpop is the Ultra Glossy Lip in Champagne Mami. This is in their newer formula with the brush tip. It's so high shine, but the color under it makes your lips look so good, so juicy. It's like the perfect everyday color and it smells amazing. $6. Just love these. Also within this year, Colourpop has came out with their Luxe lipstick formula. I have started a collection and I've become obsessed. So Layover is just like the most beautiful everyday color to wear. I feel like it will suit a lot of skin tones. It's just magical. Layover is the one that I would just like recommend to everyone. It's like my number one. And then I have four other ones that are like an honorable mention, which are Uno Mas, Name Drop, Electric Feel, and Gallop. These are the ones that I would like go to for every day. Gallop is more like when I wanna have more of like a darker lip, I will go for Gallop first. Sticking along Colourpop, I have one ultra matte lip in Ariba. I think I mentioned this last year. This is just like my go-to red. If I'm wearing a red matte liquid lipstick, I'm gonna be wearing Ariba. This is Karen's collab. I love Sarah E's collab. And another item from the mylifeaseva collab, it's their ultra blotted lip in the shade Party Wave. Again, just like a very beautiful natural color. I'm pretty sure I mentioned Zuma last year, but this one beats Zuma by a mile. It just looks so pretty and it's just like a pretty color. So if you wanted to try something from the ultra blotted lip line, I would suggest Party Wave. And the last three products in my lip category are the NYX Soft Matte Lip Cream. So these have been around since forever, but I've only tried them out this year. I'm actually wearing London right now and I just love these three shades so much. So I love London, Abu Dhabi, and Stockholm. Anytime when I'm stuck on a lip color for an eye look, I will go to these. These just pair well with literally everything. London is a little bit more like orangey nude. Abu Dhabi is like a darker nude, and Stockholm is like more like a pinky nude. So these just go with everything. The formula is like not 10 out of 10, but it's pretty good. It feels very light on the lips, very moussey almost. And that is pretty much all of my 2018 makeup favorites. 2018 was a very interesting year. I feel like a lot has happened that it doesn't feel like a year has gone by. It's just so many changes. Like first, the biggest change in my life is moving out. I feel like I have learned so much from moving out. You learn a lot about yourself, and I'm still learning. Yeah, just living out on your own is really hard. And I actually had to move twice this year. This time last year, where I was filming my 2017 favorites, I was like an hour away from where I live right now. I was in the NYX Face Awards, and just knowing me, that was something that I wouldn't join, but I don't know what got into me. I was like, yeah, I'll just join, see what happens. And I got into top 30, got into top 15. I discovered all these NYX products because I was in it. Learned a lot from that situation as well. So yeah, like that was interesting. I also changed jobs this year, and that was hard. I'm not a person that likes a lot of change. I like to be in routine, stick to what I know, and having to move twice and change my job and just everything, it has been a very adapting year. Also with Colourpop, in the beginning of the year, they reposted me, and I feel like my relationship with Colourpop has grown a lot. They are now following me on Instagram. I am on their ambassador list, and they have reposted me multiple times this year, which is really crazy because you can see in my favorites that a lot of the products here are Colourpop, and I just genuinely like them, whether they followed me or not, whether they reposted me or not. I would just buy their products because I like it, and you guys like it when I review it, so it's like a win-win situation. And my relationship with them is still very little, but it's, I guess, growing from what it was last year, because this time last year when I was filming my 2017 favorites, they've never reposted me, they haven't liked any of my photos, like they didn't have a clue who I was, and now they have somewhat of a clue who I am. So it's just crazy to see like my growth as well on this space. I'm just like reiterating all my 2018 highlights. Like, it's been crazy. I got to go to Japan again, which was really fun, and I miss it a lot. To top it off, just more recently, we have a new kitty now, so now I'm a mom of 2 cats, well, 1 cat, 1 kitten, and yeah, the past week has been really busy. Just taking care of a new kitty and just trying to separate the two. It's just been a lot. I'm curious and excited to see what 2019 will bring, and I'm happy that you guys are here with me and supporting my little channel. So yeah, to wrap things up, I just want to thank you guys so much for all of the support that you guys have shown me in 2018, from the NYX Face Awards to just congratulating me on a repost, on hitting another K, or just everything. You guys are genuinely just so nice and kind, and I feel like more recently, the more that it gets into my head that my channel is growing, people are relying on me for these reviews, and you guys actually take my advice and you take my recommendations. I almost feel like I have more pressure, and it's something that I'm just like dealing with. So every time I upload, I just feel a little bit anxious and a little bit worried, like you guys might think my looks are boring now, they're not creative, it's all the same. But every time I upload, the comments are always just so nice, and you guys make me feel better again. It's just, I don't know, it's all just very new to me. So that's just what I've been thinking recently, but every time I upload, you guys always make me feel reassured again, like I'm doing something right. I just want to thank you for that, because it means more than you know when you type a nice comment to me. Like, it literally makes my day. So you don't know what I'm thinking behind the camera, so just know that I truly appreciate it when you guys show me all that love and support. So yeah, this video is already long enough. I just wanted to thank you guys again and share some of my personal 2018 highlights. Guys, like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up so I know to keep making my favorites in the new year. Comment down below a personal highlight that happened to you in 2018. I would love to read it. Or if you want to write some of your favorite makeup favorites from this year, let me know in the comments down below. I would love to chat with you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!